Through the prism of thoughts and dreams, there are places that few have glimpsed and even fewer have truly understood. On the border between reality and myth, tucked away in the heart of the mighty Himalayan peaks, lies a legend that still ignites the imagination of explorers, poets, and mystery seekers: Shangri-La. The very name of this storied realm stirs echoes of longing and hope, fueled by the idea of a terrestrial paradise where peace, knowledge, and beauty coexist in almost inconceivable harmony. But what exactly makes Shangri-La so special? Did it truly exist, or does it remain merely a mirage drawn from Himalayan legends? Picture a hidden valley, framed by towering mountains whose snowy peaks seem to pierce the sky, reflecting the sunlight in all the diamond-like hues. Deep within this valley, ancient pathways meander, perhaps silent for centuries, laden with secrets and hopes. The air is so pure that each breath feels like a pledge to eternity. There, between the clouds dancing above the cliffs and the winds whispering the songs of the ages, rest the ruins, or by some accounts the living remnants, of a city that was once among the most prosperous and refined creations of humankind. We begin this journey with the subtle sound of a Tibetan flute, as though diving straight into the soul of the mountain. Somewhere in the distance, a wooden gong resounds, setting the rhythm of an ancient ritual. We pass through the mist and arrive, as if by miracle, at the massive, elaborately carved wooden gates of a lost city. Legends say that anyone who enters Shangri-La immediately feels an all-encompassing tranquility, deeper than any peace known in the outside world. Through these words, we invite you to follow the footsteps of dreams beyond the borders of the ordinary, stepping into a tale where every stone, every blade of grass, and every gust of wind recount the grandeur and downfall of a unique civilization. Today, we embark on an epic expedition to explore the historical wonders, cultural mysteries, and captivating theories surrounding the disappearance of this legendary place. Step by step, we will reconstruct how Shangri-La was founded, how it flourished, and how it ultimately slid into the darkness of oblivion. We will learn of its visionary leaders, the political and spiritual systems that guided its inhabitants, the bustling markets where trade intertwined with art, and the temples where spirituality merged with science. So prepare yourselves for a thrilling journey through millennia, for Shangri-La is not merely a name, it is a symbol of humanity's aspiration toward perfection and eternity. To better understand the fascinating story of Shangri-La, we must journey back in time to the origins of accounts that mingle myth with reality. According to oral chronicles passed down in the villages at the foot of the Himalayas, the first tribes to settle in the area were nomadic peoples who roamed the mountain passes in search of scarce resources and more hospitable territories. Legends speak of a spiritual leader named Sering Norbu, an enlightened monk who is said to have received visions of a sacred place, shielded from the hardships of the outside world. It is said he chose the valley due to a unique confluence of energies, and under his guidance, the first stones of Shangri-La were laid with great reverence. Modern scholars, though lacking indisputable archaeological evidence, hypothesize that this founding could have taken place around the 2nd century BCE. However, there are also theories placing the city's beginnings later, during a period when Himalayan kingdoms exerted growing influence over trade in Central Asia. In any case, once the community took root, Shangri-La began to develop at a remarkably rapid pace. Initially governed by a theocratic system where monks played a crucial role in political and cultural decisions, the city underwent multiple transformations over the centuries. It adopted a well-structured hierarchy, led by wise sovereigns, chosen more for their spiritual virtues and knowledge than for any noble birth. Thus, wisdom and compassion became the pillars of governance, fostering a unique social environment. During its golden age, estimated to have occurred between the 7th and 10th centuries, Shangri-La forged a rich cultural identity. Its architecture, influenced by Tibetan and Indian styles, was enhanced by local elements and a singular artistic flair that could be seen in its temples, palaces, and noble residences. Mural paintings and stone sculptures depicted protective deities, holy figures, and mountain landscapes, all laden with symbolism. Meanwhile, music, dance, and oral literature took center stage in daily life, passing on the community's traditions and values from generation to generation. If anything has cloaked Shangri-La in an aura of absolute mystery, it is the legends and myths that have preserved its name through to the modern era. Some stories speak of the Lake of Eternal Youth, a subterranean body of water believed to slow aging and heal diseases thought incurable. Elders in Himalayan villages still keep alive their ancestors' tales. A secret path carved through the mountains once led to this hidden lake. Only those with pure hearts could find the entrance, and those who crossed it would witness miracles beyond imagination. Another legend originates in Tibetan beliefs about reincarnation and karma. It is said that the great Lama, half god, half human, blessed the founding of the city through prayers and secret rituals so that its people would always be guided by the light of spiritual knowledge. Some historians contend these accounts reflect a cult of wise monks perpetuated through ceremonial rites, striving to achieve enlightenment not just for a select few, but for the entire population. Shangri-La's mythology also includes the tale of the Celestial Queen, who was believed to maintain the energetic balance of the mountains, discreetly yet firmly watching over the community. Tradition holds that during each summer solstice, processions of priests and masked dancers would ascend a sacred peak to offer tribute to this celestial queen. There, in the supreme stillness of the mountain, a ritual dance took place, symbolizing the harmony between nature's forces and human will. According to legend, as long as this dance was performed correctly and with a pure spirit, the city would remain flourishing and safe from harm. Though these myths may sometimes seem plucked from fantasy, they have sustained Shangri-La's reputation as a paradise not only in the physical realm, but also in the spiritual one, a place where the boundary between the sacred and the profane blurs and where miracles become possible. Over time, such stories have cultivated a near magical allure, drawing pilgrims, researchers, and adventurers eager to discover the truth behind the legends. Some sought mystical powers, others sought physical healing, and still others pursued philosophical answers to existential questions. Each visitor left with their own version, deepening the mystery and mirage of this place, long lost to time. Despite its mystique, Shangri-La was not solely a mythical land of miracles and spirituality, but also a surprisingly advanced social and economic center for its era. One reason for its prosperity may have been its very isolation. Nestled in a remote valley, the city remained largely unthreatened by barbarian invasions, allowing it to develop intricate governance structures and production systems. A vital component of Shangri-La's wealth was its highly efficient agricultural system, adapted to the harsh climate. Both legends and certain Tibetan documents mention the terraced fields carved into the mountains where robust grains like barley and millet were grown, alongside vegetables and rare medicinal plants. An ingenious network of irrigation channels harnessed glacier meltwater, guiding it to the farthest corners of the terraces. The result was a steady, abundant harvest that provided not only enough food for the inhabitants, but also a surplus to trade with tribes and towns near the Himalayan mountains. Beyond agriculture, craftsmanship was highly esteemed. Shangri-La's weavers produced fine fabrics made from yak wool and silk threads obtained through secret trade routes, which likely connected the city with Central Asian kingdoms and possibly India and China. Skilled jewelers crafted pendants and rings adorned with semi-precious stones mined from the mountains, while potters fashioned vessels and figurines blending local motifs with an array of cultural influences. According to some accounts, the city's markets were a riot of color and energy. The tinkling of bronze bells and the beating of drums filled the air, accompanying stalls laden with dried fruits, exotic spices, and artisanal goods, in a sensory spectacle that bewitched every visitor. Society as a whole was structured around the concept of balance, both spiritual and political. Although there was a supreme ruler, usually a lama or a sovereign blessed by the sacred temples, he did not act despotically, but worked alongside a council comprising representatives of the monastic communities, merchants, and craft guilds. The laws were simple but firm, grounded in principles of cooperation and collective responsibility. For instance, it was said that anyone disturbing the balance through greed or unprovoked violence would be exiled from the community to an isolated monastery, where they would be encouraged toward penance and reflection. Daily life was filled with rituals and festivals, celebrating harmony with nature and the veneration of protective deities. Each season was marked by public dances and temple ceremonies, where priests offered blessings for bountiful harvests, fertility, and peace. The inhabitants' homes, built of stone and wood, were arranged along an urban plan carefully designed to respect the flow of the land's energies, in line with local feng shui beliefs. Streets were wide and paved, enabling easy passage for pack animals and merchants, while fountains and small interior gardens provided not just utility, but also tiny oases of serenity. Education was also a priority. Children were taught to read and write from an early age, with most schools attached to monasteries, where they received not only religious instruction, but also lessons in astronomy, traditional medicine, and philosophy. This unique blend of spirituality and practical knowledge gave rise to specialists admired throughout the region. Healers skilled in rare plants, astronomers capable of calculating celestial movements, and even engineers involved in constructing bridges and temples. In summary, Shangri-La's society was a carefully measured fusion of innovation, tradition, and collective wisdom, an alchemy that forged its golden reputation, a place where people could truly attain a state of unparalleled peace and prosperity. Yet, as with any grand tale, this one is overshadowed by a pivotal turning point. Paradoxically, the very qualities that once made Shangri-La so remarkable eventually became the crucible of its downfall. Numerous theories attempt to explain the gradual decline or outright disappearance of this enigmatic civilization. The first theory points to climate change. Located at a high altitude, Shangri-La was deeply reliant on the predictable rhythms of the seasons and on glacier-fed water sources. Certain centuries may have witnessed more extreme climatic shifts, either global cooling or catastrophic natural events like distant volcanic eruptions, disrupting typical weather patterns. A prolonged drought, or conversely, devastating floods, could have severely damaged terraced agriculture and food supplies, weakening the city's economic foundation. A second theory concerns conflicts and invasions. Although Shangri-La enjoyed extended periods of peace, being spared regional political tensions, it is believed that around the 11th century, the first attacks by nomadic tribes began, drawn by the city's wealth. While Tibetan archives offer scant details, there are references to a Black Sky campaign that ravaged several isolated mountain settlements. If Shangri-La became one such casualty, its residents might have been driven out or forced to retreat to even more remote areas, scattering their culture in the process. A third hypothesis, steeped in mythology, suggests a break in the spiritual equilibrium. It is said that during a period of internal corruption and personal ambition, sacred rituals were neglected, and the crucial solstice dances were no longer properly performed. Consequently, the celestial queen was believed to have left the valley, and her blessing turned into a curse of decline. In a more pragmatic interpretation, once traditional values were compromised, social cohesion unraveled, leading to internal strife, betrayal, and mass migration. Lastly, some speculate that the inhabitants may have deliberately withdrawn into obscurity. Faced with an increasingly hostile outside world and new geopolitical machinations, the spiritual leaders might have chosen to hide their city entirely, literally and figuratively. They may have abandoned more accessible areas and built temples and settlements farther into the mountains, shrouded by fog and traversable only by difficult paths. It is possible that part of the culture survived in hidden sanctuaries, perpetuating the ideals of Shangri-La even to this day in discreet monastic sects. Regardless of which theory one embraces, a single point is undeniable. Shangri-La slipped into the realm of legend, leaving behind only remnants of art, traditions, and oral histories that continue to fascinate. Over the centuries, explorers and scholars have attempted to unearth evidence of its existence, yet no findings have been definitive. Perhaps that is the city's ultimate allure, to remain an everlasting symbol of hope and the human aspiration toward peaceful coexistence. And so we reach the end of a journey through time and space in search of a city that continues to live on in humanity's collective memory as a genuine ideal. Shangri-La is not merely a parable for what a perfect community might look like. It also bears a gentle warning. Any civilization, no matter how flourishing, may fall when the balance between nature and fundamental values is broken. Whether we imagine this place as a secret fortress still inhabited by sages hidden in the mountain mist, or regard it as a beautiful fable, its message remains strikingly relevant. As the final strains of ceremonial music fade into the echo of the mountains, we hold on to the image of massive gates, possibly sealed forever, whose splendor now touches us only in dreams. Perhaps one day, someone guided by the spirit of adventure and the pursuit of truth will discover the path to those lost walls. Until then, Shangri-La remains a testament to the power of imagination and humanity's capacity to transform grand dreams into reality. It may not be found on official maps, but it endures on the map of the heart, where hope, peace, and courage beckon us to explore, to understand, and to remember that the greatest treasures are not always tangible. They are the ones that nurture our spirit and inspire us to be better. Thus, at journey's end, I invite you to keep your inner eyes open. Beyond the snow-capped peaks, beyond the scattered clouds and the echo of ancient drums, Shangri-La may still speak to us. It beckons, perhaps not to be conquered, but to be understood and safeguarded as a collective treasure of humanity. And this call finally transforms into a story without end, an invitation to adventure, to knowledge, and to hope. We who have listened may now count ourselves among the bearers of this vanished civilization's legacy, carrying forward the dream and the beauty of a place where harmony was truly at home. This concludes our documentary on Shangri-La, the fabled Himalayan city lost in the mists of time, yet never forgotten in the annals of myth and in the hearts of those who believe that on occasion miracles happen in the most unexpected places. We thank you for accompanying us on this journey and hope you will always keep the flame of curiosity and the courage to dream burning brightly.